To start installation, apply a liberal amount of grease to the bottom bracket shell threads in the frame. Separate the two parts of the bottom bracket and apply a small amount of grease to the bottom bracket O-rings and cup threads. The Hammerschmidt bottom bracket must be installed in a specific order. First, thread the drive side bottom bracket assembly into your frame using the Truvative X tool or equivalent. Once hand tightened, torque to 34 to 41 Newton meters. Now, repeat this process on the non-drive side bottom bracket assembly using the GXP bottom bracket tool. Make sure the proper disc is installed for the frame's 03 or 05 ISCG standard. If the disc needs to be changed, use a 4mm hex to remove the cable anchor bolt from the actuator. Then switch seal discs. Reinstall the cable anchor bolt until it is hand tight. The collar assembly must sit flush with the bottom bracket shell face. If you have offset tabs or a 68mm bottom bracket shell width, see magicmechanics.com for spacer instructions. For flush mount assembly, remove the collar seal from the front of the collar assembly to fully access the mounting holes. Insert the 3 mounting bolts through the collar assembly to hold everything together. Next, carefully slide the complete assembly over the drive side spindle. Align the mounting bolts to the ISCG tabs and use a 4mm hex to start each bolt. Gently push the complete assembly so it sits flat against the ISCG tabs. Tighten all 3 mounting bolts in an alternating fashion to 4.5 Newton meters. Finally, check for proper collar assembly installation by sliding the anchor bolt back and forth in the seal disc window. You should see the pawls in the collar assembly extend and retract. Retract the pawls and replace the collar seal. First, position the Hammerschmidt shifter in place on the handlebar. Using a 5mm hex, tighten the shifter clamp bolt. Then, torque to between 2.5 and 4 Newton meters. Turn the adjuster barrel clockwise until it stops. Then, turn the adjuster barrel back counterclockwise 2 full turns. Measure and cut the amount of housing needed to fit between the shifter stop and the collar assembly stop. As it reaches the collar assembly stop, make sure the housing has only a slight bend and fits easily into the cable stop. Press the black trigger lever to ensure the shifter is in the fully released position. Loosen the cable anchor bolt and attach the shift cable to the actuator. Make sure the cable is sitting in the groove between the anchor bolt and the actuator. Pull the cable taut and secure the bolt. Use a 4mm hex to torque the anchor bolt. Some additional adjustments of the shifter barrel may be necessary to optimize the actuation. Go to magicmechanics.com or your local Truvative dealer for details. Now, cut the cable a few centimeters past the anchor bolt and install a cable tip. To start, press the silver trigger to retract the pawls on the collar assembly. Apply grease to the drive side bottom bracket splines and crank bolt threads. Then, use an 8mm hex to install the mechanism assembly, making sure the spindle splines engage with the bottom bracket. Torque the crank bolt to 48 to 54 Newton meters. It's critical the crank arm bottoms out against the crank stop. If it does not, loosen the crank bolt and tighten again. Now, repeat the process for the non-drive side, making sure the crank arm is 180 degrees opposite the drive side crank arm. The final step is to install the chain. First, size a new chain according to the chain manufacturer's instructions. Then, feed the chain under the guide and onto the ring, and connect. If necessary, adjust the location of the chain guide using a 2.5mm hex. Make sure the guide does not interfere with the chain when the rear suspension is fully compressed. This completes the installation process. The Hammerschmidt front transmission is now ready to ride.